Assalamualaikum, my name is Shaira binti Osman and I will start the presentation by explaining what is integrity system. So integrity defined by C.S. Lewis is doing the right thing even when no one is looking. Integrity is a foundation of moral virtue and the bedrock upon which good character is built. The act of integrity has relation towards understanding, accepting, and choosing to live in accordance with one's principle, which include three things: honesty, fairness, and decency. In the context of public or private sector, Whitener 1998 explains that integrity is conceived as employees' perception of their manager's pattern of word-deed alignment and forms the foundation of trusting relationship between leaders and followers. On top of that, we can see that the integrity system, especially in Malaysia's public sector, seek to achieve good governance and transparency. The integrity system becomes one of the major factors that drive Malaysia's economy to the highest level and is considered to be an important element for the development of the country as well as to achieve the vision of the country. We can see that the Malaysian government had taken many strategies to improve the quality of integrity in Malaysian public. Such an example can be seen with the establishment of the National Integrity Plan 2008 in 2008, with the goal of reducing corruption, misbehavior, and power abuse, as well as improving the efficiency and effectiveness of the public delivery system and reducing bureaucratic red tape. But every implementation of system has its issues and we will discuss it next.
So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Syaibi Muhammad Syarizan. So, I will continue the presentation to discuss about relevant issue regarding whistleblower. So, I have choose two issue regarding this whistleblower. That is, the first one is Najib 1MDB issue, and the second one is the whistleblower retaliation by Wafi Abdul Aziz. The Najib Razak 1MDB issue is a corruption to the borrowing of 1MDB, the international network of money laundering and bribery, through which illicit money flowed and the poor internal controls in the organization. It also built on previous research by highlighting the failure of banks to identify money laundering and enforcement bodies to deal with the corruption. The 1MDB scandal is perhaps the most serious corruption scandal that has been recorded. The corruption has involved embezzlement and laundering of billion US dollars from its account together with gain from bribery and bond tracing, facilitated by false declaration by its official and others. Besides that, a cohort of banks, businessmen, and senior government officials from Malaysia, but some from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and other countries that have been implicated in the scandal. Increasingly, from 2016, the spotlight has been placed on the former Malaysian Prime Minister, that is Najib Razak, his wife Rosmah Mansor, and Loh Teck Joe, a Malaysian businessman, and other people of Najib associated. And Najib Razak has alleged to have been the mastermind behind the scandal because at that time he is the chairman of the 1MDB. So that's all regarding Najib 1MDB issue. So we'll go to the next issue, that is whistleblower retaliation by Wafi Abdul Aziz. So in this case, he is a high-ranking company executive in Malaysia, has been arrested and criminally charged with whistleblower retaliation. So Aziz reportedly persuaded the president to dismiss a staff reporting a wrongdoing to Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, that is MACC, while acting as Deputy Director of Education Malaysian Global Services under Malaysian Whistleblower Protection Act, which make it a crime to incite or permit another person to retaliate or threaten retaliation. The charge, filed under Malaysian 10 years old law, is punishable by up to 15 years in prison and fine about RM 100,000 ringgit, or you can get both. Alright, so that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Gabriel bin Hamzan, and today I will present on my part which are the factor of whistleblower. So there are two main factor of whistleblower, which are personal factor and also cultural factor. So for the first one, which are the personal factor, it is when an individual who feels the internal locus of control becoming more dominant than the external, they are more likely to become a whistleblower. This is because the individual believes that every outcome obtained depending on the effort given. This is when the value of fairness dominates the loyalty in the individual. Once the individual decides to become a whistleblower, he or she will be driven by an awareness of responsibility and will have the desire to control his or her surroundings. So that's for the personal factor. So next is the cultural factor. For the cultural factor, individuals from Asian cultures, mostly from Japan, China, and Taiwan, will in general view whistleblowing as something that is less favorable than the people from America. This shows that the cultural difference is related to the degree of collectivism. The Asian culture tend to have a higher degree of collectivism rather than the Americans. The greater the degree of collectivism, the more loyalty increases, and when loyalty increases, the more negative the individual's expression towards the whistleblowing. So it is more unlikely for he or she to become a whistleblower in their company in the culture of an Asian. So that's all for my part. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Azri Zadin, and I'm going to talk about the issues that related to whistleblowers. So, a bit of introduction. In this era, whistleblower is a risk for the company, and the companies need to prepare for the whistleblower complaint, which are made outside of the company. Whistleblowers are not required to report the complaint internally or wait for any specific period of time to benefit under the SCE Whistleblowers Agency. Instead, whistleblowers have an incentive to wait for 120 days before contacting the government. Under the SCE Whistleblower Regulation, a whistleblower is entitled to a larger award if she or he awaited 120 days after reporting the complaint to contact the government. So, going to the next slide of the issues of the whistleblowers. So, the first steps in overcoming whistleblower issues is to conduct focus group and surveys. This will develop an understanding in your workforce to believe that about whistleblowing and attendant retaliation risks throughout focus group and surveys. They need to design a question that will expose their employees about are a part of bypassing internal compliance channels and why they do it. Next, they need to listen to the whistleblower, because in dealing with whistleblower, it is critical to listen to the whistleblower concerns. The whistleblower must be given opportunity to describe all his or her concerns. While listening, it is important for the company representative to avoid prejudging any issues, suggesting that the whistleblower is wrong, or brushing aside any of his or her specific concerns. The company representative should take notes during the meetings and write down all the whistleblower concerns. Next is report out on response to complaints. Shows the employees that you are committed to protecting the whistleblower and that you take their complaints seriously in the company. Consider providing generalized opinion through internal blog, social media, and so on. This will help some basic regarding the investigation, the speed with which the matter was resolved, the benefit the complaint conferred on the company, and if it is applicable the benefit the whistleblower receive for the reporting. Next, they need to conduct a fair investigation depending on the nature of the allegation, and a follow-up inquiry should be conducted. The step is taken in the investigation should also be documented. Any investigation and resolution of an allegation should be fully explained during the investigation. If necessary, the whistleblower should be contacted and interviewed time by time if there are any follow-up issues identified during the investigation. And the last point is to conduct a whistleblower specific training for the managers, because a substantially volume of whistleblower complaints are made directly to the managers, and managers' response tend to vary and create risk. So the managers need whistleblower specific training on a regular basis to ensure that they respond appropriately to the complaints. So that is all from me. Thank you.
In conclusion, an integrity system is needed to ensure the reduction of corruption, promote the growth of transparency, accountability, and integrity at every level across all sectors of society. There is a need to revise and raise the issue on the Whistleblower Protection Act 2010 or WPA. An article made by New Straits Times commented that disclosure or information leak cannot be prohibited by law under Section 6 of the WPA. Disclosure can only be made to the government in Section 6 and 8 of the WPA, and that certain whistleblowers cannot be protected under the Act of Section 11 of the WPA. Due to this restriction and lack of protection, we need to ensure that the protection of whistleblowers is substantial to avoid any injustice and harassment towards the whistleblowers in order to achieve good governance and transparency. Thank you.